Were you hitting the button too?
We're such rookies here, dude.
We probably should have determined that going into this in general. Anyway, that's hilarious. So, guys, just so you know, we both have control, and I think we were both hitting the same button. And I would hit it, but he would hit it, and we were counteracting each other. That's pretty hilarious. So that
was fantastic.
Hey, we're working out the kinks, boys. We're working out the kinks. Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Oh, that was excellent.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. That is so funny, dude. That is hilarious. All righty, guys. Okay, so we got a pretty good show for you guys. And by the way, I'm hoping my internet connection is finally good. So please let me know in the chat thread if we're good. I mean, it's looking like a lot better. Kind of a funny situation. I was using just my general Wi-Fi for my house. Clearly, it's been pretty bad. So some people talked about it. I think I found a way of getting around it now. So it looks like so far it's working a little bit better, which is good. What's up, guys? Hey, Aether. Hey, Francisco. And guys, we are 100% live as well, too. We probably should have mentioned that before. We are 110% live. So you got us.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm excited. So what we have planned for you guys is talking about coaches' salaries and just going into that conversation. We also can talk about the matchup against the Dolphins if you guys want. If you guys want to look a little, James and I have been, well, actually, James, Kyle, and myself have been talking quite a bit about the matchup. So, we can get into all that with you guys. So if you have questions, keep throwing them out there, and we'll go from there. By the way, I love this hat, too. This is seriously one of my favorite hats. I love it. Oh, my God.
I know. I love this hat. I don't know. It's just like the OG 90s. It reminds me of Christmas Vacation when he had that Chicago Bears hat.
Yeah.
Putting up the lights, and he's like, I'll show you where to stick it, kind of thing. And that's what it reminds me of. It's all like 90s. Hey, man, I'm all about the hats, man. Every time after a game at SoFi, we always are like, oh, let's go to the team store.
Yeah.
And look at that. He's got all those hats there. I don't have my hats hanging up anywhere, though. I got a ton of them.
I know. You got to get them. Hey, I'll bring this down, too. These are little hat hangers. I'll bring these down, James, when I come down. So you can have – I think I got like 7 or 8 left, so you can hang up your hats up there, too. So, yeah, I got a few. I'll bring them down.
Sick.
So you'll have some hat hangers. You can have them in the back there as well, too. So a lot of fun.
By the way, I was just going to throw out there, this channel is all about family, trust, respect. Once again, last night, thank you very much, Rams. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank God.
Thank you. God. Thank you. Thank you. We'll talk about that later on in the show, by the way.
We definitely will. And I'll tell you right now, it was so funny because James was talking about watching the game, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to watch the Raiders at all, man.
I'm like, I like this. This is what my face was watching it. I was just like... I was like, I'm angry watching this game. I hate watching this freaking game.
Oh. Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. And I'm just like, I just don't care. I don't care. Just don't even, I don't even want to deal with it. So anyway, it's kind of a funny story. So
it was bad.
All right. So which article should we start on here, James?
Well, let's kind of give what this idea of the show is all about. So we're going to talk NFL coaches' salaries, because the reason why is that we've been chatting a lot about, Sean Payton, even the name, Jim Harbaugh has been thrown out there, which it sounds like he's going to stick with Michigan. But we're going to chat about kind of what their salaries are at right now, or what is expected at a minimum per se. And then we'll kind of go from there and just chat about kind of comparing our coaching staff and what we are basically paying our coaches, and even past coaches too. So we'll talk about that right now. But if you want to just throw up that screen, or if you want me to do it, because I don't want more technical difficulties here, so we're both sharing screens at the same time. So I have the links up and everything too. But
okay,
if you want to do it,
then you run that. Go for it.
All right, I'll run that too. So all right, so we're going to pull up right now basically kind of who the highest paid coaches. Actually, let me go back to 2021, and I'm going to start 2020, go 2022. So in 2021, this is the top 10. This is from the GOAT.
The GOAT.
103.3 FM. Yeah, so 10 highest paid in the NFL. Who do you think it's going to be, guys? Bill Belichick. This is in 2020, not 2022. This donut ad right here is annoying me. All right. So you got basically Bill Belichick, 12 million is what he's getting paid. You got Pete Carroll, 11 million. You got John Gruden, who got fired midseason with basically what is $100-something million guaranteed based contract or whatnot.
Unbelievable.
Dude's loving it, sitting at home, no big deal. 10 million a year, cool. Then you got number 4 here, Sean Payton, $9.8 million. So I'm bringing that up as a point because are we willing to pay $9 million for this guy? Are we willing to pay 9.8 million? And mind you, this is pre-inflation. So
Pre-inflation, yep.
inflation wise could jump that over to the $10 million mark easily. So are we willing to pay a coach that kind of money? Don't know.
Well, and on top of that, it's guaranteed money too, guys. That's the one thing, right? So one of the things a lot of people don't understand about and again, I'm happy to educate myself as well too. The podcast has been great because we're learning a lot more about all this. Is that bottom line? This is guaranteed money. What's that dude's name that got fired for the? Oh my God,
Panthers. Matt
yeah,
Rule.
Panthers. Matt Rule. He's getting paid $9 million a year, sitting on his ass.
Crazy.
You know, so it was guaranteed money, and so that's part of the problem I think with paying coaches so much money is that it's guaranteed money, right? And so with a player, you sign an 80 some million dollar contract. Well, that's not guaranteed. That's if they go to the life of the actual contract, right? So you have to kind of remember that when you start talking about coaches' salaries. So, anyways, continue on with that for sure.
And that's the thing. Like we have to basically look at that and say, okay, hey, are we willing to pay something like this? And we'll talk about the past too, which actually, if you want to, I could bring up the past and just kind of say what we kind of know about some of our coaches here. But I did want to just kind of rifle through John Harbaugh getting paid $9 million, McVay $8.5 million. This is in 2021 before he signed his extension to putting Matt the highest paid coach in the league.
Right.
And then here's Matt Rule. He was number 7 at $8.5 million. And he loved that contract. And then you got Andy Reid at $8 million, who is an absolute stud as a coach.
Yep.
And then Mike Tomlin, $8 million, absolute stud as a coach too. And then you got Bruce Arians, who is now out, but he was getting paid $8 million by the Bucs. So the thing about it is we're just talking about $9.8 million plus for basically Sean Payton. This coaching staff is probably, and this ownership would shock me if we even did something like that.
Yeah.
That would probably mean he would be GM and head coach getting paid well over $10 million a year.
Yeah, it'd have to be $10 million. Yep.
It has to be. It has to be at that point. So I think the one thing I could even jump over to is kind of give you guys some of the examples of past coaches here too that we've paid and what they were getting paid as a coach for the Chargers. So let's talk about that. So this is an article from the Baltimore Sun, and this is back in 2013, I believe it was.
That far? Okay.
Excuse me, 2015. Yep. And this is it's also referencing by San Diego Union Tribune. It's kind of just a Google search on everything here. Basically, they're saying, hey, is Mike McCoy being underpaid? I mean, he only really got us to the playoffs once. Had a lot of questionable years, questionable decisions, but first-time head coach. Top paid coaches made about $7 to $8 million per year. This is back in 2015, or excuse me, am I getting that date wrong? Why do I keep saying that? 2018, 2015, excuse me, 2015. So back then it was $7 to $8 million, and that was like Sean Payton, once again, Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, Jeff Fisher, Andy Reid, and now we don't know what McCoy's salary is, but Ron Rivera is at $2.8 million per Sports Track, and at $3 million, McCoy's salary would be near or at top Norv Turner's pay level. So Norv Turner and McCoy were getting paid roughly about $3 million a season, give or take. So
yeah.
Once again, that gap is pretty big here, guys, of going to get a top tier kind of head coach now. And that's going to be an interesting thing to see where this kind of lands, if this is even discussion. Now, once again, we have 5 games ahead of us, and we still have a lot of season to be able to see where this all plays out. This game against the Dolphins is massive for us, which we will do post game, or excuse me, a pre-game show on that probably tomorrow. But would we be willing to pay that much money to a head coach? Recently, we have not got close to that figure by any means.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of a tough thing for me to think it's going to happen. But tell me your thoughts on that, Andy.
Well, I think bottom line, the argument is you got to pay up for a good head coach, right? Now, let's go through like the head coaches now. We can talk about what's the guy's name at the Broncos? Why am I drawing a blank on his name? I keep thinking Haslett. It's not Haslett.
Hackett.
Hackett. There we go. So they're in a really weird situation, right? Because they are paying Russell Wilson so much money, and it's guaranteed money, guys. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so. Part of this conversation was really about having a discussion around financials, right? Because when you think about firing a head coach, there are implications to that. Again, they fired Matt Rule. He's still getting paid $8 million a year.
Yep. And then just got another head coaching job in college football too. So he's double dipping, which is great.
100%. So he's making it's a guaranteed amount of money, right? So the argument could be made, well, you kind of want to not pay your head coach as much money as possible because you could save, those dollars. I mean, because that's essentially the revenue that the team is making, right? So, but you bring in someone like a Sean Payton, he's going to want $10 million a year. Probably going to want a 5 or 6 year contract, maybe even a 10-year contract, right?
Exactly.
Which is a blockbuster deal. So he's going to be our guy for 10 years.
Yep.
He will be our guy for 10 years. So are we willing to commit to that? Because that's what he's going to want. And he wants to be the GM for 10 years too.
Right. And the thing is, though, my hopes is with the Chargers, and say in the last 10 years, just as an example, we've gone through 3 different coaches already in the last 10 years. And I would love to be able to see continuity at that position, just because the system needs to be able to find a way to stabilize. And we keep going from system to system to system. Think of Keenan Allen. He got drafted in 2013, and the amount of coaches that he had to go through during that time. I mean, I know as a wide receiver, it's all just about routes and getting open somewhere or another. But at the same side, it sucks trying to have to learn lingo and all that stuff once again every single couple years. And it becomes a confusing process at that point. So I would like to be able to see it. And now, once again, if you do a big commitment like that, I mean, you got to make sure you got the right guy. As an example, once again, the Raiders, with them bringing back the past and bringing in John Gruden, giving him a fat contract and basically firing him after a couple seasons. And so it can burn you in the end, but you would hope that you'd find that right guy. Now, Sean Payton was with the Saints for 13, 14, 15 something years or whatnot.
Yeah, right. Long time.
He had success, but he has a lot of faults during that time. He really only had 1 Super Bowl, and that was it. And got to the playoffs multiple times, won a good amount of division championships and such too. But it is kind of tough to be able to, know if he's going to have that same success over here in a completely different division, with a division that's going to be competitive. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Yeah,
no. And this is a good point. I know our guy here, let's see who talked about this specifically. Oh my God. I'm looking at way too many comments here, guys. Harbaugh. So people are talking about Harbaugh. So let's pull up that article on Harbaugh real quick. And, it does look like he's coming back to Michigan.
Toby's comment right there.
There we go. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was having a hard time finding that. We're both messing around with this stuff here. So maybe I'm like,
we're making it harder on ourselves.
What am I doing here? It's okay. But look, I mean, the thing about Harbaugh, right? We could talk about him, right? He extends his contract. I mean, look at that. So ask yourself this question, right? If you want to bring a guy in from college, there's some college head coaches that are making a ton of money.
Yep.
Like a freak. What? How much is the guy at Bama? Oh my God, why am I drawing? My brain cannot work today.
Yeah, that he's getting paid. I think
$9 million a year or something like that,
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, a year. God, what is his name? I have just drawn blanks.
Bama.
So
Saban.
Yeah. Satan. and again, guys, right? Like, think about that. You want to get Saban, right? You got to pay him more than $9 million a year, right? Why would you care to go to the pros if you're making $9 million a year to take a
Right.
pay cut. You wouldn't do that, right? So, and again, and I think that's partially, this conversation. I find this conversation interesting in that sense because we can sit back all day and say, well, yeah, why wouldn't you? They're in the NFL. Doesn't matter, right?
Right.
It's also a you got to pick up your family, move them somewhere else, deal with the pressure of being an NFL head coach. So take a wild guess. Do you guys know how much money we're paying Brandon Staley? Do you know what his contract is? So in the chat below, before we reveal it, take a wild guess how much money we're paying Brandon Staley.
Yep. Yeah. And
Take a
I mean,
guess.
just to give an idea of like when we started looking at the 10 highest paid coaches in the league, it's not, and that's 2021. I still have to show you guys 2022. But just to give the example of what we're talking about, subject matter here with Jim Harbaugh and his new 5-year, $36.7 million contract, which doesn't sound like a lot in the NFL world, but just to get an idea of what we're paying, Brandon Staley, this is a big difference from what we're at. So his annual compensation goes up to $7 million, a little bit over $7 million, and then in 2022 goes to $7.63 million. To basically in 2026. So it's basically a $3 million increase. Well, I don't know why that says that. Oh, it starts at 7. Okay, so he goes from basically like 4 million to basically 7 million, and then it keeps going upwards into 2026. So yeah, he's basically getting paid pretty good, and that's kind of at that level of where those top 10 coaches are at. So you're starting to say in that $7 million, $8 million range, where it's like you got Andy Reid, you got Mike Tomlin. These guys are like top guys. I mean, even Matt Rule was in there, which was really strange to even see a guy from college jumping over
for sure
or whatnot. But it's going to cost a pretty penny to make that happen, guys. And that's where if history repeats itself, we like to find a guy that could actually be very he got hot at the right time, and we're hoping for the best to give him a low contract that he's going to be the next Bill Belichick, kind of thing. And that's kind of tough. I don't know. It's tough to see. So, but
yeah. So we went through some numbers here, right? Okay. So we've got, all right, here we go. And 4.5, 1 million, 500K in a bag of chips.
No sandwich included and a drink.
No sandwich included. No sandwich. Not even a Jimmy Jam. Not even a Jersey Mike or any of that stuff. Guys, he's getting paid $1 million a year for 4 years.
So $4 million total contract.
$4 million total contract.
We were digging around in that for a while, trying to figure that out. Long time. And it seems like they were really trying to keep that quiet. And actually, just I'll show you guys here.
Yeah,
it was a little tough to be able to even.
Yep. Go ahead.
It's tough to be able to see something like that and thinking like, holy smokes, we're not paying this guy hardly anything. If we look at comparison of what coaches are getting paid right now in 2022, this is where we're at. Sean McVay, Bill Belichick, $12.5 million. Pete Carroll, $11 million. Shanahan, $9.5 million. Frank Reich, $9 million. John Harbaugh, $9 million. Matt Rule, $8.5 million. Matt Rule, that guy, what did he win? Like, 10 games or basically that, like maybe if that. Mike Tomlin, who's an absolute stud, $8 million. That's a steal in my opinion. Andy Reid, $8 million, steal. The amount of AFC West championships and the playoff runs he's had, steal. Sean McDermott, $8 million. I think that's a steal. Ron Rivera, I've always been a big fan of him when he was a linebacking coach with us.
Yep.
$7 million. I think he's a good leader all around.
Yeah, he's a good leader. Great leader.
Nick Sirianni is killing it right now. Like $6.7 million. Cliff Kingsbury, 5.5. LaFleur, $5 million. Salah, $5 million. Zach Taylor, steal, $4.5 million. That's a steal because the way that he's making the Bengals play and be relevant, big. And once again, he had a rocky start to his first 2 seasons. So look at where he's at now. Look at me now. And then Mike McCarthy. Yeah. Mike McCarthy, $4 million. Hackett, $4 million. Stefanski, 3.5. Unknown coaches. Vrabel, we don't know. Brandon Staley, we don't know. We dug around this forever.
It's
4-year,
best we could find.
$100 million contract.
Best we could find. Yep.
Crazy. Crazy, right? Yeah, right, Moses. I mean, pay me a $500,000, I could probably get the same result for sure. But it's just very tough to see and look at this and think, are we willing to? History tells us even Marty Schottenheimer's contracts were really low too. I think he
Yeah.
was only getting paid 3 to 4 million, and mind you, that's mid 2000s, different time, different inflation values. Dollar was different at that point. He wasn't getting paid a ton of money to be a head coach for us, which was some of our most successful years in the 2000s.
Right. Right.
And history repeats itself. These owners, in my opinion, are why we're a little cheap here all around. And so,
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's guys, and we bring this up because everyone keeps talking about Sean Payton, Sean Payton, Sean Payton. We have never paid our coaches a lot of money. We never have. Now, the argument is this. Okay. So I'm going to pose the question to you guys, right? Is Sean Payton 10 times better than Brandon Staley as a head coach?
Yep.
Because that's ultimately what you're saying if you hire him as a head coach, paying him $10 million a year.
Yep.
Again, money talk and bullshit walks. We all know that, right? And at the end of the day, if you hire someone like a Sean Payton, pay him $10 million a year, is he 10 times better than Brandon Staley?
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Okay, Aether, we got no.
Mark, no. Yeah, it's Aether is very, very much saying no on this situation. Which
exactly,
I get it.
Sure.
I mean, the thing about it is, guys, like we're not sitting here saying we need to get rid of Brandon Staley. I think Brandon Staley's a good coach, and I like him a lot. Now, I will give you guys some observations from last night's game to basically like what we've done as a team, as a fan of the Chargers here. So, Toby, actually, can you repeat the question, Andy? I know Toby wanted to
the
ask
question was essentially, do you think Sean Payton is 10 times better than Brandon Staley? Because Brandon Staley is getting paid $1 million a year.
Yep.
But Sean Payton would at least have to be paid $10 million per year.
Yep.
$10 million.
10 times
10
more.
times. So if you were to make the argument dollar-wise comparison, is he 10 times better than Brandon Staley?
Yep. Yeah.
So I guess the conversation is, okay, so yeah. And say, oh, hell yes, for a Super Bowl win. Now look, at the end of the day, that's where the conversation comes into play, right? 100%. Now, and guys, there is so much I could show you guys on just our play calling, and I'm going to fiddle around with this a little more. I will do a whole series around breaking down plays, and this is what we did. I've got to get a platform to make that work. But my opinion, and James, you let me know what you think.
Yeah.
My opinion is keep Brandon Staley as a head coach, but get a new offensive coordinator. Yep. That's what I think.
Yep.
Now,
I agree.
I just don't know, because you have to remember, an offensive coordinator is not going to get paid as much as the head coach, or close to. That's why they leave to head coaching positions, right? But what we need to do is install an offense that utilizes our players correctly. I don't want to go too deep into this, and if you watch my video from yesterday, I talk quite a bit about this.
Yeah.
But the problem is we're running extremely base offense. I mean, I'm talking Madden 101 bullshit, right? Like nothing interesting. It's not. If you break it down, everyone that talks about the Chargers always say this. Yep. Dude, Lombardi is running the weakest crap you could run.
Right.
So you just need to get a guy to scheme people up, and that's very different, right? I'll pass the time to you, James, for a second, but I keep coming back to the game that James and I, all the Boat Bros were in Arizona. Remember the 2-point conversion we did?
Yep.
The 2-point conversion, you had Allen, and then you had Everett. They ran the same route, guys. They went to the right, and then they went to the left. Yep. The cool thing about that is it immediately made them double team Allen on the slant up the middle.
Right.
But Everett was trailing, and he was just left completely open.
Yep.
Right. So they had to make a choice. That's called scheming one of those two people open, which the point is you can't cover everybody at one given moment. They had to make a decision.
Yep.
But the argument, bottom line, is that Lombardi does not scheme people open with his play calling.
Yep.
He's essentially saying, all right, I'm going to run base offense, but my guy's going to beat your guy.
Yep.
Problem is you can double team your best guys, take them completely off the field, and that's what teams are doing against us. So, anyways,
yep.
I said a lot. James, what do you think?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We aren't doing enough of that, in my opinion, to help the wide receiver get open somewhere or another. And that's the idea of an offensive coordinator, in my opinion. The offensive coordinator needs to find a way to be able to get the guy that's open. And that's what Justin Herbert needs to read. You know, and I was going to go a little bit more, and I'm going to talk a little bit about scheming, which I sent a video to you either this morning or it was late last night, that Pro Football Talk with Chris Sims and the play that he dissected.
Yep.
So the thing about Brandon Staley, in my opinion, is that we have to think about the job that he's doing right now. You know, it's not pretty in 2 years, bottom line. Last week's loss, dude, still bothers me to this day. And, you know, Brandon Staley's been as a positive, Brandon Staley has only been under 500 once in the first 2 years of coaching. Yep. Now, once again, it's to be determined on what's going to happen this weekend still. But with all of these injuries, it still does show good coaching to be able to be a 6-win team and still be in it. Because tell me another coach that could go through all of these issues and be successful. Like even to say the Rams have gone through a ton, by the way. They've gone through, you know, Stafford's gone, Kupp is gone, Allen is gone, Donald.
Aaron Donald's out.
Donald has been out too.
Jalen Ramsey's still out there though. Yep.
Yeah, Ramsey's still out there doing his thing, but I remember they showed it was like a graph or something like that of like all the players that were Super Bowl players last year and where are they at now? And they only had like 5 of the players from last year's squad that have actually played every single game this year. And it was out of like 12 or 13 players or something like that. It's hard when there's a lot of loss like that, guys, and to be able to have continuity and to be able to have a good, strong product out there. So with all this, guys, going back to that play calling conversation with that 4th and 12 play last week, where it eventually was a bomb to Allen. All 4 receivers on that were just curl routes, get to the first down marker, and that's it. Going back to Andy's point, dude, that's just barely trying to get a first down.
Get the first down.
Yep. And it's relying on the cornerback, safety, or whoever's covering who to be able to, you know, not be in right position to be able to just fall into the 12-yard or get the 12 yards and get that first down. Like that's just trying to get just this much, not try to get a full rip kind of play. Now, shout out to Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen making, you know, diamonds out of a play that was terrible by any means.
Yeah.
Which shout out once again, Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen for making this offense look somewhat competent in a way.
Presentable.
I mean, it's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible to watch. Like when I watched that breakdown, I was like, dude, this guy's got to go. Like I could have made a million times better call.
Yeah. Yep.
Than that Joe Schmo, you know?
Yeah. So and you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And we could break it down in so many different ways, right? And again, you're playing for the 10 yards we need for first down. You're playing for the 5 yards we need for first down. Don't do that. Just get as much as you possibly can. What is the defense? See, you're playing for what you need, not for what you can get. In my opinion, my point is, why not just see what the defense is running and saying, hey, I'm going to go for 15 yards. I 15 yards because they're running this type of defense. And what's up, Hogwatch? Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Hey, by the way, James and I are Padre fans too. I've been watching you quite a bit.
Wild, right? Wild to watch. Wild to watch.
Xander, we got
going on with the Padres.
Yeah, super exciting. Hey, Aether, there's a couple of thoughts, guys. This is the question part of the thing. How many Super Bowls has he won now?
You're clicking out. Which person are you talking about? I don't know what he was going with there, but Peyton's only won one Super Bowl basically. So, and then yeah, and the thing about it is with Aether talking about that, let's say the Super Bowl, if they do win one for us, which to be honest would be magical to be able to watch Peyton win one for us. But then 5 years later, we lose it because he got caught with scandals and everything like that. Man, that would be a wild thing to see. I think you might be back, Andy, now. I don't know, because you were kind of clicking in and out there
Yeah,
for a
there we go.
second.
That's really odd. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, Peyton's only won one, but that would burn. That would burn to be able to see something like that. Now, I don't know of any history of that's happened. I mean, just to go back to baseball, Houston Astros got caught cheating. They still kept a World Series out of it.
Yep.
I don't know if I've seen anything like that in the Super Bowl era or not, but and I just, I don't want us to be the Raiders. I don't want us to be known as cheaters. I don't want us to be known as the Patriots. But then again, the Patriots have won a lot of Super Bowls, and they've probably found ways to be able to get a leg up in a game or something like
Big
that.
time. Big time.
So,
Big time. Yeah, and there's a lot to be said about that, right? And Zach, this is a good point, right? So Lombardi does not run exactly what Peyton ran. Now, again, the argument is always that, well, we'll just say it this way. The reason why Brandon Staley hired Lombardi was he knew Lombardi, but he also understood the Saints offense, right? Now, he still runs whatever he wants to run and takes out specifically whatever concepts he wanted to run out of that specific playbook and then builds an offense around it, right? So no matter what, every offensive coordinator is going to run with that, whatever they're going to specifically think is best for the team.
right.
Again, my argument is always that, Lombardi is not scheming people open or making plays so simple, because what James has just outlined is that Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen had to make that play work, right?
Yep.
Yes, Lombardi made a call, but that call did not work. Then they had to do backyard football and make that play work.
Yep.
That's hard to do, right? That you can't make that work all the time. I think that's why we have so many 3-and-outs and we have these problems, because a lot of play calling is just very much just move the sticks,
Right.
instead of just sticking a dagger down their throat and just killing them and just moving the ball forward. We're still trying to get 10 yards when we need 10 yards for first down. Yeah. Who cares? Just get 15 yards, get 20 yards, get as much as you possibly can instead of trying to, get to the sticks. That's my argument 100%. So I get a little frustrated.
It's super frustrating to watch, and we all know that. And the thing is, though, Herbert's making basically this offense look somewhat competent, in my opinion. I mean, the amount of what did I send over to you guys? I think it was something that Justin Herbert has no top 30 wide receiver in the league right now, but he's also third or fourth in the league in like passing yards this year. The guy's making whatever happened at this point. And so it's pretty incredible to see what Justin Herbert's doing. And we love watching this guy play. And, I was going to bring up something about the play calling aspect of things. Vance Joseph was chatting about the offensive play calling for the Patriots. And he says, this is what he says. I see an offense that's running the football well. It's a very conservative pass game. Lots of screens, all kinds of screens. It's how a defensive guy would call offensive plays. Let's just not turn the ball over. Let's get 4 yards of play and let's try to burn the clock. Yep. So as a defensive coordinator looking at an offensive guy that's a defensive player or coach in the past, it's almost exactly like, yep, that's it.
There you go. That's right there.
I don't know if you really see that or not. But.
Actually, I could probably pull it up here. Let me email it to myself and then I'll pull it up so we can show everybody, because this is actually really good. This is a really cool it's cool. It's good. It's good to look at.
It is a really good thing. But basically what I'm saying is that Lombardi's kind of running this offense very similarly. Lots of screens, a lot of dump offs, a little bit curl routes, nothing of like trying to get yards after catch, nothing trying to set up a wide receiver to be wide open in a situation. It's more just like, let's just try to not throw the interception or have a fumble or anything like that. Let's just be conservative this entire time. And I get it and understand that. We don't want a quarterback. We don't want a Jameis Winston throwing 30 touchdowns, 30 picks. That's frustrating in itself. But the thing about it is that we do need to stop playing small ball. We're almost playing like a defensive coordinator calling offensive plays. It's very, very frustrating to watch. And so we all know that. I mean, I feel like we're beating a dead horse here and everything, just talking about that. But I'm just saying, you have a defensive coordinator saying this guy's playing, making play calls just like a defensive coordinator would. But he's an offensive coordinator at this moment. Brandon Staley's a defensive coordinator, by the way. So maybe he's kind of thinking that same way. Yes, he's an offensive player in college, but at the same side, he's a defensive coordinator that's running the show.
100%.
So maybe he's just thinking of it as a defensive coordinator. So maybe there is a little bit of fault on Brandon Staley's shoulders for that too. I was going to bring one little point about last night's game. And we're talking about coaching issues here a ton, so it's kind of on topic here. But the example of the Rams beating the Raiders last night, they were down, what was it, 16-3 with 4 minutes left in the game. 4 minutes left in the game. You think that's a wrap, right? Like, you think it's totally done at that point. What did they do? They found a way basically to win 17-16. What's impressive about it is they had Baker Mayfield starting that game, who's been in the building for 48 hours, and found a way to be able to have an impressive way to basically win a game and go 98 yards to get a scoring touchdown. By the way, shout out to Speed Bump. He got them a nice 15-yard penalty to keep that drive going off of a stupid penalty. So we've seen that before, guys. You know, Tillery back at it, boys. And so there's a thing about that you think you got a guy prepped in 48 hours to start a game on a Thursday night to be able to go out and do what he did. And guess what? If you watch that last drive, they won it. It was about 1:46, I think, in the fourth quarter. They did it by throwing the ball downfield. Like, get long plays. I'm a big critic of Baker Mayfield. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback by any means, but he played last night. I think this was all purely based upon coaching last night. And that's why you pay
100%.
a coach big money to be able to do things like that. Wouldn't it be wild to see if the Rams find a way to be able to win the next 4 games? Mind you, one of them is against us. All right, 3 games against us, or 3 games for the rest of the year. And they kind of show that Baker's got this skill set that's actually pretty solid for him. So I don't know. All around, to me, that game was won because of coaching. They coached up their players. They coached up a guy that's been in there for 48 hours and made it happen. Crazy to see that. We have a guy that's a generational talent in Justin Herbert, just like the graphic that Andy showed there too. He is doing amazing things without a top 30 wide receiver. Josh Palmer's our top wide receiver right now.
And he's like, what, 33, 35 or something like that?
Crazy.
You know,
crazy.
Not even in the building at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember some of the Ray Turd fans, you know, they were totally trolling us. And by the way, thank you, Ray Turd fans, for just, you know, trolling us like crazy. We got all these views on our videos, which is hilarious. I'm like, great, whatever. I don't care.
Thank you.
But my point is, they kept saying, oh yeah, Joe Burrow's a better quarterback than Justin Herbert. I said, look, dude, bro, it's not even a conversation. Yeah. Herbert's a way better quarterback. Burrow has a better team around him. Herbert has nobody at this point, right? And I guess that's the argument that I sit back and keep asking myself. Okay, when I think about Justin Herbert, he's a generational talent. He's fantastic. But the problem is we are holding him back. That's been my argument 110%. And again, so I asked myself this question: is that a Lombardi problem or is that a Brandon Staley problem? Because I'm starting to see Brandon Staley still get more involved in the offensive play calling. He has been recently. I've noticed that quite a bit. He'll pull, you know, Herbert aside. Okay, let's do this play, whatever, right? You can clearly see they're talking about a specific play. But again, I still think it's Lombardi because we're running such base offense. And again, I've consistently talked about why not do a 2 running back set? I would love to see, and then somebody talked specifically about Xander Horvath, way up in the top here.
Yeah.
Why isn't Xander and what's it called? Eckler out there, right? All you got to do, real simple, just run both to the side, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, the linebacker, there's usually one linebacker that's spying the running back and the quarterback, usually, in most cases. Their job is to not let that person run.
Yep.
But the problem is we're not even doing that. I mean, that's an easy matchup. If we're going to go with the check down, why not have two running backs, right? Yep. If the check down is what we're doing, let's do that. The problem, though, also is that our offense is specifically focused on beating the guy in front of you. When you talked about offensively how we did those curl routes for that 4th and long, and then Allen got the touchdown from – it's literally spread the field out and then run curls and which guy is open. And then Herbert has to make that decision.
Yep.
The problem is that is offense 101. I mean, that is shit you learn in high school, 100%. Right? Why are we doing that, right? That's not the point. Scheme people open. It's not that difficult. Oh God, it's just, I could talk about this forever. Bunch formations, right? You got the 2 wide receiver or the 3 wide receiver bunches, right? The 2 in the front, 1 in the back, or however how you want to organize it.
Yep.
Very simply, one guy go this way, the back guy goes that way, or one guy steps back, you run a screen. Lots of options out of that bunch. That's an easy way of scheming somebody open. And there's no motion, there's no rubs. Yeah. Peyton Manning lived on that, especially the goal line, where he'd have a rub, two wide receivers, and they'd cross. The defensive backs have to choose where you're going to go. And again, you only need a split second in the NFL.
Yep.
We're not doing any of that. And that just takes pressure off of Justin Herbert. Yep. That's my point.
Make it easy.
Right now what we're doing is we're making him do it all.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Exactly. And that's a hard thing to see because it's as a fan here, I'm not a coach by any means. I coach from the couch basically. But it's something that, like, why are you not doing things to help out Justin, and why are you not doing things to help out the wide receivers? Why are you not just making it confusing for the defense to make it harder on themselves? Like, for instance, like, why aren't we shifting around a lot more linemen to be able to put them into a position where, like Trent Williams in the Niners, where they would roll him out to be able to be like the lead blocker on like a run or something like that? Nobody's going to take that dude out. He's 330 or whatever he is. Massive guy. Put a lead blocker as like an offensive lineman in somewhere or another. I feel like we're just playing so much of, well, we got 5 guys. You get this one guy here. You get that guy. 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 And it's just like, whoa, hopefully there's going to be a hole somewhere in there kind of thing. It's like nothing inventive at all. And that's what's frustrating about all this here. But all around, going back to the Rams, there was a coaching, difference of that team. Because, yes, they're a worse record than us. But at the same side, they got a guy 48 hours ago to get a game-winning drive and beat the Raiders. Oh, and they're just about as injured as us, if not worse. That's what's frustrating to me about this whole thing. That's what's frustrating about me. And either way, sorry guys, this becomes a
there's a lot to discuss about that. There's a lot to discuss about that for sure. Okay, let's go through this. This is a good point. I want to talk about this. Yep. That's fair. Burrow wins big games. Again, he does beat the Chiefs. Yep. Now, again, the argument can be made that he has Jamar Chase, he has a lot more players around him, and he has an offensive line that this year has kept him pretty clean for the most part, from what I could tell. And recently, Justin Herbert's getting dry humped up and down the field, not having Corey Linsley out there. Yep. In fact, it was funny. I was watching Chargers Weekly just before we jumped on the call, and they were talking specifically about Corey Linsley probably playing, thank God, this week, right? Will Clapp did some good things, but he also did some really bad things. But my point is, they get it done when it matters, regardless of circumstances. I agree. But you have to also remember, too, play calling is better with those teams than with the Chargers. That's my only argument, that when you're running a vanilla offense in the NFL, it's a problem. You're not scheming people open. And I remember specifically Mahomes talking about that, how Andy Reid does a good job of scheming people open. What game did he talk about that on? Was that the Charger game? I can't remember. It was either the post game with the Chargers or the game before that. I can't remember. But he kept saying, he's like, oh, Andy Reid does a great job. The whole point, it's kind of like playing chess, in my opinion, right? If you're running the same plays out of the same formation, guess what? You become predictable.
Yep.
But the argument is, why don't you run different plays out of the same formation? Then you become less predictable.
Yep.
Problem with Lombardi is he's running the same damn plays. Well, he may flip it. He may say, okay, we'll flip it. Alan, you're on this side instead of this side, but you're still running the same damn route, which is a curl route or something in the flat. Again, it's the NFL has become so simple for them to scheme against us defensively, and that is a problem. Because Lombardi, I still feel like he's playing a game of Madden where he's like, oh,
Yep.
this play works every time. I'm just going to run the same damn play every time. Well, sure, that works in Madden, but not in the NFL. So, anyways,
100%.
That'd be my take on it.
Yeah, and that's super frustrating, man. And it's even Matlock's over here saying Herbert is pressured about 2.2 seconds per pass attempt, worse than the NFL. And it's only gotten worse in the last couple of weeks, too. I mean, I think he's given up 13 something sacks in the last 3 weeks or something like that, which is abysmal to be able to hear almost 5 sacks a game. It might be
3 to Chandler Jones, who had nothing all season.
Yeah.
Not crazy. A single one all season.
Yep. So it's frustrating to be able to watch that. Now, once again, I'll combat that and say Herbert is one of the best out of the pocket. Absolutely the best in the pocket.
Fantastic.
And he actually ranks as, I believe, number 1 in the NFL right now, just rolling him out of the pocket. When he is out of the pocket, he is magical. Just to give that 4th and 12 play against the Raiders again, that was out of the pocket. He made it happen. And run some more play actions. Just get him out of the dang pocket, and that's what you should be doing as an offensive coordinator, in my opinion. If your line sucks, get your quarterback out of the pocket. That's simple. Once again, I'm not an offensive coordinator or anything by any means, but if I know my line's junk, I'm going to get my quarterback out of the pocket as quickly as you possibly can. Like every time, pretty much. Let's do it. But it's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to watch here, man.
Well, and not only that, right? Like we're not even, when you say moving the pocket, right? We're not doing shifts to the right or the left or anything. We're not shifting the line. Nothing. We're not doing anything inventive, right? It is straight up block forward, and that's it. Yep. And that's partially the Saints' offense to some degree, because I remember when Drew Brees was there, that's pretty much what they did. They didn't really move the pocket a ton. It was always north and south going vertical, and I kind of get that, right? But we don't have a vertical guy anymore. We don't have Jalen Guyton that can run down, take the safety to the right, and then have a guy open up in the middle. We don't have that anymore. So my point is, you need to find an offensive coordinator that's going to tailor a system around Justin Herbert. I feel like Lombardi is consistently just saying, okay, this is what we're doing, figure it out. Well, that doesn't work that way, right? And yes, he's figuring it out at times with that scramble play to Allen, got that touchdown, but other than that, it's big point. Okay, so this is a good point. So guys, throw your questions out as well too. Zach, I think the one easy pick, and guys, who do you think we should hire as an offensive coordinator if we fire Lombardi? By the way, I swear to God, if we don't fire Lombardi, I'm going to be so pissed.
I don't want to go to third season with this guy.
No, I do not.
Third season. I cannot do it. Yep.
And it's frustrating because I feel like Staley is so set on having his guys that he started this thing with, right? The easiest choice to me would be Shane Day. Shane Day knows the Niners offense. He came from the Niners. He gets it. The thing about the Niners offense that I like, and this is what you're seeing is happening at the Dolphins specifically, is that they're basically they know how to make a system around a specific player, right? That works very well. Look at how Tua is looking so much better this year. You showed Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's getting paid, $9 million a year, $8.5 million a year, something like that. Pete Carroll, look at how good Geno Smith is looking this year as a quarterback.
Yeah.
It was ranked the worst quarterback in the league by The Athletic before the season started.
Yeah.
How the hell is he there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's coaching, right? That's my point. Right? So, again, you're not going to get Pete Carroll. You're not going to get those guys, right? But find somebody that would sit down with Herbert and develop and tailor an offensive scheme that works for him.
Agreed.
I feel like Lombardi keeps thinking, okay, he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. Well, the problem is it's not that he's not figuring it out. You're calling plays that are extremely predictable and making it difficult for him to do his job.
Yep.
At some point, the coach has to make it easier for the quarterback to make simple plays and get in a rhythm and move down the field.
Yep.
That is not happening. So Shane Day would be an easy choice.
Yep.
I can name a number of other people. I don't know. Who are your thoughts here, James?
Well, Frank Reich is one that I've chatted about too. Shane, oh my gosh, why do you Shane Steichen.
Shane Steichen, yep.
Yeah. He's been kind of a guy that I've thought about too, which is I believe with the Eagles right now. Um, that's the thing that I think we'll probably end up keeping in-house candidates more than anything.
Yeah,
Just because that's kind of trying to keep a continuity, um, for an offense per se, if we even really have a good offense intact. Now, to me, it's just about just trying to have a different mind, more or less. And that's when we chatted a lot about get Shane Day in there as the offensive coordinator, just as, you know, uh, different mind with the same offense. That's all we really want. And that's all we really need to get. So we'll see
100%.
how that goes. I mean, now once again, we're going to be dealing with them for another 5 day or 5 games here. And, hopefully they could step up. I mean, the thing about it is we're only 1 game back here, guys. And guess what? The Jets get to
We are.
play the Bills this weekend, by the way, too. The Patriots are playing the Cardinals here in Arizona. We'll see
Yep.
what happens there. They have a bye week to basically, get things going. So, hey, you never know, guys. I think it's silly how people talk about that we don't have a chance for playoffs. I get it. Our product on the field is a little tough right now. But going back to the stat, Brandon Staley has only been under a 500 once in his career, and it was only for 1 week. So
Yep.
he finds ways to keep things going. He doesn't want to ever go under 500. So I don't want to go another 9-8 season either, but I would love to be able to see a 10-7 season for him.
Well, again, so one of the things that Charles Wrigley brought up that I thought was great, and Chris Hayre brought this up. He specifically said this: "Hey, look," and again, I haven't seen the full episode, but what he came out and said was like, "Look, at the end of the day, this is great for us. You know why this is great for us right now? We have 2 playoff games right now.
Yep.
Now we could argue all day they're not playoff games, and you're right, they're not playoff games specifically. But if we think we're a playoff team, great. We got 2 playoff teams that are going to make the playoffs right now. We got to go out and prove to them and the league that we deserve to be into the tournament.
100%.
We're going to play the Fish, and then we're going to play the Titans, right? And so, great. Can we do it?
Yep.
My prediction would be this: if we don't win both games, then we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. We just don't.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
And again, that may sound harsh to say, but if we don't win both games or at least one, or at least split. Yeah. We take one, So this is good for us. Guys, on a positive note, this is very good for us because then we have to sit back and think, okay, we split these games. Let's say we beat the Fish and then we lose to the Titans, or we lose to the Fish, then beat the Titans. Well, we can beat a playoff team because this season we have not. Mm-hmm. We have not beaten a team that's over 500 one time.
That's not good. That's not a good thing.
That's not good, guys. I mean, we can sit back all day and say our team's amazing. Well, we haven't proven it.
Yep, not at all.
Remember what Max said at the beginning of the season? We're a paper team.
Yep.
Again, we could argue all day about injuries and everything that's happened with us this season, all the adversity we dealt with. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We still got to go out and prove it. So,
For sure. Yep, and we'll see how that goes. And actually, just going back to that question, what if Kingsbury ends up getting fired? And it's interesting.
I'd love to have him.
When we were actually, and I remember chatting with people at Arizona though about it, and they said the thing about him is that he is a little predictable though too. So that's a little scary too. So there is kind of that side that you're not sure about if we would really even benefit even having him though. I mean, I know Andy's saying that he likes him and everything, but talking with Cardinals fans out there, they were saying the same thing too, almost to a weird extent, basically being like a Joe Lombardi. Now, once again, head coach versus offensive coordinator, different type of positions, different things you have to manage. You could have a clearer mind about focusing on one side of the ball, not all sides of the ball. So who knows?
Well, and this is great. I had not thought about Pep. Pep would be great because he does know Herbert. And again, guys, see, to me, my frustration is the argument is not that difficult to make a team different moving forward, right?
Yep.
My first job, let's say hypothetically, the Chargers call me up. Hey, Andrew, you want to be head coach or offensive coordinator? Hell yeah, let's do it.
Get done.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah.
But you know what I would do? I would sit down. I'd say, Justin, I want you to go through the entire playbook. Why don't you pick your top 100 plays and give me just a little blurb as to why you like those plays?
Yep.
Okay. And then I would build an offense around that. Very simple start. And then you could weave more things into that, right? Okay, why do you like this? Why do you like that? Why do you like this? Why do you like that? Why do you like this? Why do you like that? I like this because this guy's open all the time. I like this because this guy's this and that. Okay. My point is, I just feel like Lombardi consistently thinks, I'm going to continue doing the same thing over and over again, and it's going to work. That's the definition of insanity, boys, right? Is
100%.
doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yep.
So someone like a Pep Hamilton, again, I like Staley as our head coach. I like him as our head coach. But I do not like the way we're running the offense because we're not using Herbert correctly, in my opinion. So 100%.
100%, man. 100%. The thing about it is with Pep, though, is that Pep, I mean, mind you, once again, Texans are a different team than the Chargers, by the way. Different talent pool completely.
100%. 100%.
Pep is the offensive coordinator of the Texans, and they're the 5th worst offense in the league. And so, mind you, if you have a guy like a generational talent like, Justin Herbert, you got basically Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, you got, Josh Palmer, you got Eckler, you got these guys out there that are studs. You have a lot more talent that actually can execute. And so, all around, it probably would be an upgrade, but at the same side, if you look at based upon where he's at, I mean, he's just in a bad team, bottom line. And we know where they're at, and they're going to get the number 1 pick this draft for sure. Like, there's no doubt about that.
So, the one thing I will say about Cliff Kingsbury specifically, I like offenses that have motion and have misdirection. Cliff Kingsbury does a very good job of that in what he does. And I've always believed specifically that Kyler Murray is not a great quarterback in the league. He's not great. I think he's good, but he's very good at running because he thinks he's the best guy on the field, which, arguably he's a good athlete, but at the end of the day, he walks around acting like he's like the best guy in the world. And I don't think he's that good. I think he's okay. But Cliff Kingsbury does a very good job of getting people or scheming people open. That's my point. So in that regard, I like him as an offensive coordinator because I do think he's much better at that. And in scheming run plays and scheming different ways of making things happen, right? But here's the thing. They have to scheme up the run offense. You're right. But the problem is let's say we start doing play action. Well, the running game has to actually score some yardage for the play action to really work in the passing game, right?
Yeah.
So, again, we keep talking about movement. Why not move the pocket? Herbert's great in the rollout, right? This is my point, right? Like, I feel like we're not using Herbert correctly in any way, shape, or form. We're just using him in the same base offense, and it's a problem. We've beaten that like a dead horse. But again, you need an offensive coordinator that's going to stop thinking Madden-like and start saying, okay, how are we going to make this guy better, right? That's my point. So,
I agree. I mean, it's interesting how people are kind of bringing up like Dan Quinn. Vic Fangio has been one that I've said for a very, very long time that Fangio is essentially what Brandon Staley's system is. He learned it back at Denver. Dude, it would be phenomenal to have Vic Fangio in his hiked up pants on the sideline. That guy's pants are above his belly button there, dude. He's way up there, dude. He's way up there.
You're like, whoa, bro.
Man, yourself a wedgie. Out, dude. Lower those things a little bit, man. Dang, that's like way up the belly button there. But
you waiting for a flood or what's the situation?
Yeah, what's going on here? But yeah, he's a stud as a defensive-minded guy, and I think it would be interesting to be able to see him. I always thought he would be really good as an assistant head coach, defensive coordinator for this team, just because then that would have 2 really strong minds together. Now, once again, that would be kind of a tough thing to be able to, maybe have 2 strong-willed based guys that are trying to be head coaches kind of thing. It could cause a little contention there, but I think it would be awesome to be able to see that. I think it would be great to be able to see that. So.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said. No, so there was a comment by Aether back in the day, way at the beginning of the thread. I'm going to put up here real quick. Yeah. It's probably about Haley. Her first thought was the Chargers took a lunch break in the sun, third quarter season.
Well,
yeah, and that's true, right? That's exactly how we played the Raiders, man. It was frustrating, but oh my God, Haley, give me a call. You know what I mean? I'll take you out. I'll buy you a steak. She's probably a vegetarian, is what I would imagine, but hit me up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Woo!
Yeah,
We'll make
it's
magic. We'll make magic. It is what it is, babe. Let's go.
this dude. Yeah, it's that's been a tough thing for us. That's where we win and lost our games this season, to be honest. Last 7 games, we haven't scored a touchdown in the third quarter. Hey,
Yep.
that's not winning football at all. That's not winning
It's bad.
football.
Well, it's also not showing adjustments as a coaching staff,
Nope.
right? Like you're seeing a certain amount of defensive play calls. Why not say, okay, we're seeing cover 3 80% of the time? Great. Okay. Well, what beats cover 3? Let's put those plays into play, right? Yep. We're not doing any of that, right? And that's the part that I get really frustrated with. So let's see this last comment. And guys, give us your last thoughts. We're going to wrap up here pretty soon. Staley's terrible. Rams stop the run without an AD. Like we could also talk about personnel. Again, we've had a lot of problems. How many defensive linemen have we lost this season?
Ugh.
I mean, dear God.
Well, and even to say Bash is even having a knee sprain too right now too, and it's like, goodness gracious, like we'd have a complete practice squad based like defensive line. I mean, it's tough to be able to watch that, and I mean, it's our defensive line is just beat to all hell pretty much. It's tough, man. Ugh.
Yeah, they're going to run all over us in Miami. Yep. I mean, I'm a little bit stressed out about that thought. Anyways, there's a lot to discuss there. Herbert,
we'll chat about that.
Zach,
one. Yeah,
100%. And Zach, this is exactly right. Herbert can make every throw. And by the way, he has made our offensive line look amazing as well, too, right? Because he does a good job of moving up the pocket, staying clean, and just shifting around just enough to avoid that. But again, my argument is that bottom line, we're doing a bad job of scheming players open, right? And again, that takes pressure off of Justin Herbert. He doesn't have to make every damn play because right now he has to make every damn play.
Yep.
Or at least the wide receiver has to make every damn play. See, again, so and maybe this should be my wrap up thoughts, because I was thinking a lot about this today, and I was going back and forth about the way that we've been coaching, or the general philosophies of the Chargers specifically, that Brandon Staley is all about matchups and saying, I'm going to beat the guy in front of me, right? He does that defensively. He does that also offensively, because that's really what Lombardi is doing. The way he draws up his plays is, my guy's going to beat your guy.
Yep.
Right? The problem is that doesn't really work in the NFL, especially with the amount of injuries we've had with our team.
Yep.
Because we're not playing with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. We're not playing. Yep. We're playing with Mike Bandy. We're playing with DeAndre Carter. We're playing with Josh Palmer, who arguably has become an extremely amazing wide receiver.
Good. Very good.
The problem is he's still not going to get open all the time, especially when they're double teaming them. Palmer and Allen were double teamed the entire time against the Raiders, almost the entire time. And so you're asking a lot for Herbert to get them the ball when they're double teamed. And secondarily, you're asking a lot for the wide receivers to be open when they're getting double teamed.
Yep.
Again, it comes to scheming. You could scheme people open. You can do that in the NFL, but we're not doing it. That's my argument, right?
I agree.
Anyways.
That's we need to be inventive all around. So, and we're not doing it to help anybody else get open and make this offense look a little bit better. This is the last little thought here that we're going to go with Aether's thoughts. And actually, going along with GM, I'm going to do a video about Tom Telesco actually next week, and we'll just kind of chat with him. Now he's in the target now. We got him in the scope there. But if the Chargers hire a new GM, will he be willing to work with Staley? Let's say Spanos say, this is your coach. Your thoughts, please. This is our coach. Well, so look at it like this. If you're at your job and a new manager comes in, say there's a position that opens up that's another management position somewhere or another. What are they going to do? Probably not hire the guys that are in the office. They're probably going to hire people that he wants in there, that he knows. So as a GM that comes in, say there's a branch manager position at your job. Well, the GM's basically going to find his guy that he wants to be in there, and he's probably going to bring in his guy. And so that would be the same idea. If Telesco's gone, he's going to bring in his guy for sure. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be this year. Could be next year or whatever if something like that was to happen. But he's always GMs will always find their way to be able to bring in their guys, and that's just how it is. So,
Yeah, I agree, and this is great. By the way, we saw this video.
yeah, yeah,
We
yep,
saw this video, and the whole time I kept thinking to myself, "Oh my god, guys,
yep,
there
it's
is
bad.
a litany of information out there. Everyone knows that Lombardi's a piece of shit. He's not a good offensive coordinator,
No,
right? And
terrible.
look, I get that he's the guy, but I think he's the guy in the wrong way. And the point is, in the NFL, teams know how to scheme us indefinitely. They know what to do to beat us because we're running, again, base offense, base defense. And that PFF video, in fact, I think I may have
Okay.
put that in the link below, James, when this is over. Put that in the
Yep.
link below so we can see those. I've been trying to post videos on some of our threads on YouTube as well, too, guys, just so you know. Little videos that you guys should look at that just, kind of show some of our points. But anyways, there's a lot of content out there just showing you how remedial remedial all of our plays are, guys. I mean, oh my god.
Yep.
Boy, oof.
Yeah, and I'll chat about that actually in the video with Telesco and everything too. So
that's a good one. Yeah, we should talk more about that. Maybe we could also talk about it a little bit more next week on our live. Guys, every Friday, James and I are going to try and go live at this exact same time as well too, because it works well for our schedule. It doesn't work for Kyle, just so you guys know. Kyle works in an office and James and I work at home, so we can take the time off. So it works pretty well.
Yep, for sure.
But yeah, Nick, good to see you guys. Good to see you, Nick. I hit the wrong button. There we go. Good to see you, Nick.
What's up, Nick?
And yeah, but I think bottom line, guys, right? Look, on a positive note, we're still in it. Okay, we're still in it. Okay,
still in it.
But we need to step up these next two games. These are our two playoff games right here. If we don't at least split, we got to split at least. We got to split at least. If we don't split, then it's a wrap, guys. It'll be a wrap at that point. We'll be a few games back, and it'll be tough. So that's my final thoughts.
Yep, final thoughts. Hey, we'll do a pregame tomorrow, and we'll chat about what our notes are, strategies for the Dolphins, and everything too. But we always appreciate you guys jumping on here, like, subscribe, sub to the channel, and everything, guys. We're excited to be able to keep chatting about Chargers football and keep the faith, guys. I mean, a lot of people are already saying we're not going to be able to win against the Dolphins. I think there's a good chance they might be laying a lot on the line on this game, and I think a lot of 4th and Staley might be coming around here too. So
big time,
kind of have to at this point. And so, but looking forward to it, guys. Always appreciate you guys jumping in here and having a conversation with us on this Friday. Appreciate the times you guys watched our video and everything too, liking and subscribing to us. We love it, guys, and we love chatting with you guys all around. So.
Yeah, and one other thought too, guys. We are really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and the reason why is we want to go to a new platform for merch. We have these merch ideas, but these merch ideas really won't work unless we get to 1,000 subscribers. We want to move to Teespring. Teespring gives us more options, so please share our channel with other people. Even if you just throw posts out there, hey, these guys are great. Listen to them, like and sub. That helps us. And again, we're not making money doing this. It's something we enjoy doing and just engaging with the community. But, we want to try and add a few more things to the merch room so you guys can have some cool stuff. We got some ideas. So anyways, family, trust, and respect. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being part of our, circle. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Hey, do you want me to press the button or you want to press the button this time?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Once you press the button, I'll let you take control. All
right, I'll hit the outro here, guys. All right, Bolt Bros, we out, guys. See you guys. Peace.
See you.